Viego play PvE, but Diana Lucian changes that dynamic, especially also when you have Betal on the Tryndamere. Hopefully I'm not butchering his name. It is Betal, but Kabum possibly opting in for a invade. They're going to get some vision down. Diana's going to trade the vision onto the enemy red side here. So both teams getting some vision down here. Very standard runes. Lethal Tempo on Jinx and Tryndamere. Conqueror on the Diana. Press the attack on Lucian. You look on the other side, it's all very, very similar. Viego opting in for Conqueror. Akali Conqueror. It's very standard rune choices across the board. And really, I want to see Avenger, push House in. Make him sweat a little, Don't give House this easy free laning phase, because although Red have the early game advantage, Kabum, once House gets 1-2 items, hits that Victor, those Chaos Storms are going to start hurting.
Yeah, do not let him do 11 CS per minute in this laning phase again, like last time. Do not let him do that, Avenger. But I guess he does have to also be a little bit wary, potentially, of the ganks, of Wiz on this Viego. It is pretty tough for him to lock down the Lucian, but it definitely can be a punish. And we can see only 1% of the fans have been swayed by game 1 for Kabum. But it's progress, In this best of 200 series that we're playing, they'll maybe manage to get the fan vote in their favor by the halfway mark. As you see, Betal is forcing the pressure onto Parang. Doesn't even have the rage stacked up yet, but knows he just wins these.
Yeah, and Parang very smart, starting Shroud there instead of Q. I like the adaptation a little bit. Parang also has Ignite TP versus Betal's Ghost Flash. So Betal not going to be able to enter these team fights. Probably he's not looking to do it. Yeah, look at that. That's just Tryndamere trading, right? Stack your rage bar, E, auto. I'm just going to walk it out. Avenger getting a nice ward here onto the Raptors of Wiz. Hal's going to be pushed in, and not much you can do, right? He's got to just take the punishment, let Avenger do his thing, and hopefully just survive it, as Wiz coming out for a level 3 gank.
He is looking for that punish, but it's a 2 versus 2, and remember you said that's a tough 2v2 for Kabum. Maybe they can make it work though. The flash has been forced out of Lucian, and Wiz now might have to burn his to get away from that relentless pursuit. Flash comes in, and a dash from Aegis sends the Kabum jungler packing as House looks for a trade, but that's all he can find. Remember, they have the vision on him there, and the chickens are still being contested. Smites down for health for Wiz, but Aegis has one of his own, gets a couple of them, but has to walk away, has to hold the L on this engagement. Anymore.
Yeah, so Wiz is looking at his topside quadrant, and it's gone. That's not yours, man. Tryndamere has the push. Lucian has the push. Because of what Wiz did, and to burn the Flash of Avenger and get that level 3 gank, he loses all access to his topside jungle here. Very devastating, especially if you're on a Viego. Would have loved to see the Xin Zhao picked up instead for Wiz. It was up. And look at Wiz. He can't even go in because T10 and JoJo are there on the counter playing very, very good defense. Oh, I'll add that. Breaks. Puts a tear to my eye, Trajan, when I see the team playing for their jungler. Puts a tear to my eye. They're not even going to miss this bot wave as well. They had it perfectly prepared for this one, and this is a completely flipped script from last game. Last time it was Kabum. They had control of mid. House was roaming into the enemy jungle to get vision and spot out the enemy jungler. This time it is Avenger and Aegis doing Wiz dirty, as Betal gets ignited by Parang there and will fall a little bit low. The Bloodlust is stacked up, and Wiz is here to look for the punish. Ghost is popped for Tryndamere, does it the flash as well. Will just need the spinning slash to escape. Just a summoner for summoner trade in top lane. And this is what Wiz is forced to do. He's not going to be able to farm, so he's just forced to try to force ganks and get these really unoptimal ganks. Can't really do much. Has a little bit of the Krugs. Diana ended up, or Aegis ended up not taking a full top side of his, but denied him so much. Wiz loses so much tempo because he's taking level 1 Krugs. He's unable to take his his bot side just yet. So he's losing timing on his camps. He's not going to be able to hit 6 as fast, while Diana comfortably farming level 5 right now, has access to his top 2 camps. Once those are done, they'll be able to possibly take Dragon here with the mid push, right what Red did last game as well. Everything is looking good for Aegis with a team effort on the side of Red to set him up for that.
Absolutely. Skuro's gonna catch a recalling JoJo and get that vision pushed out there, but Now we get a chance to see what Kabum can do here. The spanner has been certainly thrown into the works, and they are having a bit of a rough time in the early game thus far. Let's see how they can deal with this. Are they going to still be able to build that foundation that they got that first win on when it comes to these objective fights? I imagine they're definitely not coming in as cocky as last time, but will they still be able to make these fights work? It's going to be a tough call, as Jojo is now showing himself in mid lane as well, just helping Avenger get this one pushed through.
Yeah, shoving it in, letting Avenger possibly get a reset or even roam, and that's a Hex Drinker first on the Lucian. I like it. And actually, the complete opposite ends up happening. Kabum actually going to end up securing this first dragon, mostly because probably Red doesn't care about the Cloud Dragon. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Cloud Dragon is single-handedly the best single dragon you can get in the game because it denies the opportunity for a Cloud Soul. That's all. That's really the why
it takes it off the table. Yeah.
Yep. That's exactly
we love
why.
to see it. We do love to see it. But I mean, let's be honest, we saw Hextech Soul last game, and I could have missed it, you know? If it hadn't flashed up in front of my screen, I would have never have noticed that they'd taken it. So maybe we can still have a better impactful dragon for Kabum, as they are taking this as the consolation prize, you know, at the cost of losing kind of across the map in terms of lane pressure, and their jungler is the one being kept behind at this point. When the skirmishes break out, we'll see if they can do a little bit more, and I think that their early fights are a little more competitive than Red's was last game, you know, with the Ezreal without an item, with the Rise without an item completed. I think that Victor and Aphelios should have a little bit more to bring in that regard.
Well, also with Kabum, right, you just look at their itemization. They're completely content on farming, right? A cull being picked up for Disave here, right? No pressure on House to pick up the lost chapter, and ended up picking up double amp tome and and boots here. So they're completely fine. They outscale, I would say, in my opinion, right? Viego, Victor, Aphelios is definitely way better than Diana, Tryndamere, and Jinx, in my opinion. I think Diana eventually just becomes kind of like a one and done champion, where once she doesn't have her ultimate, she's kind of just a Q bot, and she can only really throw those out. Yeah, she has some chase potential for sure, but she has a lot of high cooldowns on her other abilities. So she's really looking to start fights off. While on the other side of House and Wiz, right, you can just play these fights as patiently as you want. Victor still very, very strong without Chaos Storm, right? Lasers plus Q and Gravity Field, they just do so much more in these fights. And I think the real eyes for me is going to be on Teton here, right? Has the ability to scale into the lane, has the Jinx in question, a very, very strong champion. We saw what it does once it gets one reset, looking to clean up fights as flash for flash.
Punished, though, with the flash for flash, and Wiz looking for a bit of a scuffle as well, but 4 members make that 5 of Red Canids all around this Herald, and 5 with Kabum, with the Save rotating up as well. Let's see if Kabum wants to make a fight out of this one. We saw it go very badly for Red in game 1, and Batao actually kicks it off by aggressing onto Parang in the top side. He should be able to escape even with the ghost pop by Tryndamere. Bounces over the wall into the pit, as Red are seeming to have cold feet right now. They're backing away a little bit. Skuro can't find it. Skuro takes the Herald, but there's a big moonfall from Aegis onto the backside. Won't find the kill. Parang kills Jojo of all people and escapes back to his tower. I don't know how Kabum got away with that one.
Yeah, ended up the smite fight going out, and Skuro ended up taking it. I originally said I wasn't.
The Nautilus wins the smite fight.
Yeah. The Nautilus won it with the Q. By the way, that's what happened. Literally, exactly. I don't think Aegis even popped his smite, or maybe he smited somebody else. Hopefully, you get a replay onto that, because definitely want to see what happened there. But Kabum come out on top, pick up the Herald, pick up a kill as well for Parang of all people on the Akali. So very, very scary here. And originally, I said I wasn't agreeing with this Herald fight. I don't know why Kabum's opting into these, because of just the nature of their composition and what guns Disave had. He had red and white. He easily could have picked up 2, possibly 3 plates for himself in that bottom lane. Didn't really end up doing anything in that fight. Is 0-0-0. I believe his Moonlight Vigil went wide and hit nobody as well. So, I mean, look, presence is a hell of a thing, and Disave, if anything, definitely had that for going for himself.
Yeah, and Aegis in that fight found a really nice 3-man moonfall onto the Save, got the flash out of him, got the flash from Wiz and Skuro, I think, as well. Got a great engage, but again, just there's no follow-up at that point. The rest of Red are fumbling to try and catch Parang on the bot lane, who's killing their support. Jojo did not have the quickness. They can't follow up at that point. And it just kaboomed. Yeah, they got in, they got out, they slipped away with a kill on a Herald and took that. So if we're lucky to have this, we're just going to walk away. So it seems that Kabum, even without the gold leads that they can accrue in the early game, they will still just walk up for a skill check and they'll walk away and beat you in it.
Yeah, they pulled literally, again, something out of nothing. And what looked like advantageous for Red, right? 5 members in, starting their Herald. They definitely had, in my opinion, the better early game team fight with, Avenger and Aegis. And Aegis hit a fat ultimate, too. I believe he hit a 3-man there.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a really nice ultimate. Just didn't have the damage going up front and didn't have the follow-up, right? Parang was being a menace in their backline, unfortunately. And like you said, ended up picking up a kill on Jojo and slipped out without really getting punished. And now Kabum, a team that was, content on scaling, is now up, couple hundred gold. They're everything's looking up for them as we panned down to a Moonlight Vigil. I mean, I didn't see anything. Did you see anything, JJ? I didn't remember seeing anything at all.
I don't think there's any evidence of that. I think if you want to just delete the VOD rows, we won't. No one will know that that's happened. As the Dragon gets picked up as well, so Kabum, they've got the gold lead. They've got the Dragon advantage this game as well, and they're maybe going to get aggressed on. The quickness comes out onto Skuro, and Avenger looking to get some gold into this mid Lucian, but Titan takes it away with a super mega death rocket. Still gold onto a carry. We're happy with that.
Yeah, I think that's just, unfortunately, Skuro not being where he's supposed to be, right? Oh, flash for flash.
Jojo not slowing down, trading away with House as Red look up for something on the backside, going again for a chickens fight that served them so well earlier in this game. But Wiz, he's gotten on top of Avenger, who does still have the flash and will step away. So Red, they are fighting back once again, just like last game. Even when they're down, don't expect them to roll over.
Yeah, interestingly enough, Batal as well in the top lane going for, it looks like, a full split push. Tryndamere, hull breaker itemization in hand. I don't
love that.
Yeah, it's not the best. I would have definitely loved to see Gale Force and him be more of a menace, especially into a champion like Aphelios and Victor, who don't have a lot of mobility. As I say that, Wiz is just going to get rocketed down here. No mana from Titan here. Uses it all, but yeah, Wiz is... I feel like he's just forced to do things he doesn't want to because of what's been happening, right? The man's jungle has been pillaged in the top side, right? Aegis has been just having a field day with the chickens. I believe the red buff also got taken away, and he hasn't really been able to do much. Pops the Herald into the bot lane, put some points into, or put some gold into Desave. Cull is almost complete. Gale Force came out of Desave here, and you said he's not shy, Gale forcing in and just being an absolute Chad on this Aphelios.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, he's got the... I would actually call Exhaust a Chad summoner at this point, because you get up into melee range
100%.
And then exhaust them. So I think that he does have the Chad build, and we're going to see him finish that Cull off pretty soon as well. Titan just got a nice buy away with that kill and the farm he's been stacking up. So Titan, I think, for me, it's always like the late game win condition for Red Canids, right? He's such a reliable hyper carry with Jinx, the quintessential hyper carry in this meta for so many patches, that even if the rest of the game isn't going as Red wanted, with the Lucian mid, with the Tryndamere top not getting huge advantages, there's always Titan, and we can't count them out unless the Jinx has gone down.
Yeah, there's a lot of mobility on the side of Kabum to jump onto Titan, right? Parang was able to do it. Ended up killing Jojo instead of Jinx here, but House just casually dropping the Chaos Storm onto Avenger. And nothing comes of it.
Just rips it with the crown proc, just stands in front of the culling, takes not much damage and walks away. A bit of a Victor moment right there in the mid lane, doesn't seem to care at all. And he's just going to step away. So Avenger, we haven't seen him get the advantage we want out of this Lucian. There is still a strong mid game to be hit, and there's not really a tank on the side of Kabum. Nautilus does not count as a tank, to be clear. So there's still work that Lucian can do, but going into the Hex Drinker to delay his Mythic, and then the crown has been finished by House. I don't think mid lane is going to be anything for Red at this stage.
Yeah, it's gonna be really crucial on how Avenger pilots these fights, right? Like you said, stunted his build, went for the Hex Drinker, went defensive. Now he has to start dodging and weaving, right? With the E, with the auto procs on his passive, right? He's got to start doing a lot more damage. And if I'm Kabum here, I'm completely content on just giving this up. We don't need it. I don't need the second Herald. It's not necessarily super important to me. We've already broken first turret down in the bot lane. Mid lane turret has not taken too much damage as well. So you just be content on farming. Let Aphelios finish up his coal, which he already has. He sold it, ended up picking up the Serrated Dirk, and just scale as they're actually going to be on the hunt. Wiz playing like he hasn't lost any camps at all.
Yeah, he's playing like he has backup, but he just has Skuro and houses farming mid. So if, a bold move by Wiz, but not punished, so fair play, calculated. See the gold up on the screen as well, and Parang this time has not joined his other two carries at the top, but those Kabum carries, maybe he's going to look to pick it up right now as he's caught Avenger on the side of Perfect Execution comes through. Hexdrinker is there, but it's not enough to stop Parang picking up that kill to join his buddies at the top of the gold table. Aegis, though, will find the punish. Jojo comes in with a quickness, and at least the trade is 1-for-1.
They invested quite a bit, and Dragon's coming up in 30 seconds. How's... Okay.
Flashless.
Doesn't have anything.
Here. Oh, Teton's had to flash away, though, and Batal gets stunned up by Wiz. The Crown doing so much work for the victor, and Jojo has arrived, but without the quickness, not much more he can do. And the split-pushing Aphelios picks up the tower in top lane.
Woohoo! Probably had the red and white guns again, was able to push that top tower down.
Yep.
Bot lane, Rift Herald's going to be popped, but I was going to say...
Ooh, but they got Wiz, gets away from the Super Mega Death Rocket. Skuro running interference, and Hal's still there for the lasers, means no kills. Will be picked up by Red, but they've got that bot lane tower. Herald's going to draw some attention, and I imagine they'll pick up number 3 Drake as well.
Yeah, Red's going to take this away, just some good macro play and just forcing people out. Desave a little late on the back, was able to push the top lane tier 1 in and got some gold for himself in the waves, but wasn't able to get the back off. And just Teton playing these fights really well, poking them out, poking House and forcing flashes on the side of Wiz here. So yeah, they lose the dragon, but Desave just has an egregious amount of gold in his pocket.
He does. He is a very rich man on this Aphelios, topping the CS per minute charts, topping the KDA charts coming into this series, and is still very, very affluent on this Aphelios. Very proficient on it. He's got level 11 as well, both summoners to his name. The Collector's going to be online before too long, and Kabum have just gone back to their old ways. You know, they're just playing it out. They're not getting caught. They're disengaging anything Red tries to do, slowly accruing that gold, taking the towers, taking the objectives, and at some point, Red, they're going to have to try and break through this wall that Kabum have erected. They can run you down very hard, it must be said, but you're going into Crown, you're going into, you know, Exhaust on Aphelios, you're going into a Kali Shroud. It is kind of tough to pin someone to the wall, honestly.
Yeah, and you know, I also want to say that as Wiz is just gonna beat Batal up right now.
He's ulting forward for a very bold. Will force the Ghost away from the Tryndamere, but the Tryndamere as well, not being able to win on the side lane is a little bit of an issue for Red.
Yeah, I mean, it's a whole breaker Tryndamere. It's not the crit god that we usually see with the, you know, Gale Force in and everything like that. But I wanted to say that Kabum's playstyle, you know, a lot of people are going to look at it and say, oh, well, this is very boring. It's not going to work. Like, this will get figured out. But I would say it's almost a skill on the side of Kabum to really just stabilize game states. Like, that is a very undervalued skill. And Moonlight Vigil comes out. Get some damage off. Quickness.
Oh, Desave's on his own. Quickness forces the flash, and Jojo still gets on top of him. Super Mega Death Rocket's there, but then they have the damage. They walked away. They thought they secured it, but Desave lives on a sliver, and now the re-engage can come through from Kabum. Gravity Well from Howls generates a bit of room in this mid lane, and Red will call the whole thing off. Howls, though, still ready to fight. He wants to get stuck in.
Yeah, and that's just Desave. I think he had an extra red pot ticking, right? That's the only reason he lived, right? So, I mean, unfortunate, for Teton and Jojo here. They thought they picked up the kill, but now...
Oh, what the hook onto Jojo. Parang finds the support once again. Aegis has the flash to safety, but Wiz on the chase and House as well. Red have split up with Batao on the bot side. He's still got the ultimate, has the flash, but Parang is inevitable chasing onto Avenger, and House has Aegis backed into a corner. Dasave is on his own against Batao, and surely Tryndamere will find that trade kill. He will with a flash, and Skuro, I don't think you want this 1v1, my friend, as Wiz is chasing still onto Teton. Gets the reset, one more shot. W's an ult, and he escapes on the Viego. Wiz, today the Viego is unmatched. What a play.
Now Wiz just pulling out some champion diversity here. Hey, Kabum banned Lee Sin, and we see the start of this fight, right? It was Dasave just casually in the background. Skuro hits a massive hook into the... And I don't even get to commentate it anymore because Parang is going to get chased down here.
Flash is traded by Avenger, and if Jojo can't find this, Parang's just going to walk away. Avenger cannot, for the life of him, get something started in this game. Oh, Jinx Rocket. That was a good call, but not quite. Almost.
He zigged when he should have zagged on that Jinx Rocket.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
We've all done it.
Yeah, that's happened. Teton has been really close with these Jinx Rockets, right? Hitting most of them and getting dangerously close to another reset. But yeah, that fight was just started off the back of Skuro hitting a massive hook into depth charge, and that depth charge tore through half of Red, actually, and so knocked most of them up. And then it was just cleanup duty for Wiz, right, on this Viego. Has been battered, has been beaten down, is still 50 CS down on the jungle matchup, but has been putting in work, right, on the Viego. Wiz, you can take his champions away, you can take his camps away, but this guy is gonna find a way to be useful, and props to him.
Exactly, right? Whether it's getting all the early kills on Lee Sin, whether it's as Viego just showing up to team fights and doing what he needs to do, dropping the heralds for his carries, being ready to run interference in those fights. Wiz just gets better and better throughout this season, looks unmatched in the jungle position, and Aegis, who we know as a very strong snowballing player, yes, he's got the CS, but we haven't really seen him achieve much with this champion so far. Got that one big ultimate at the herald fight, but had no follow-up, and at this point just isn't having the same impact. Maybe he's looking to change that right now with another expedition into that blue or red side jungle, but will find nothing. At least the tower goes down for Batao.
And in regards to Aegis, I mean, what good is the gold if you can't really use it? If you don't have follow-up from your team, right? Lucian is not the best follow-up with a Diana ultimate, right? Teton can't really get in there, and he runs the risk of getting depth charged or gravity field or paranged, right? I mean, that's the whole term. You just get paranged, as he's going to get aggressed on.
Oh my goodness, Red are getting paranged in top lane right now. They didn't get the kill, right? But I think he played that about as well as he could, as Teton has been caught up by Wiz, and all of his team was trying to kill the Akali, and Teton with no defense will be knocked down by Wiz. Jojo with the knockup, and they might be able to burst this Viego, I should say, has to Heartbreaker to safety, but now Avenger caught in the lurch in the jungle with House on the chase, but he fat fingers his stasis. I don't know what's going on anymore in this game, but Kabum, you cannot wrest control out of their hands.
I didn't see anything, Trajan.
Once again, VOD's been deleted. There's no evidence.
I gotta go to the optometrist. I gotta get my eyes checked. How's here burning the stopwatch? I'm gonna say it was a flex. It's for the style. It's for the BM.
It wasn't even a Zonya's. It was an actual consumable stopwatch. That's so sad.
The disrespect coming out from House here. That's what I'm gonna say. You know what? I don't need to kill you. It's about sending a message. Parang here doing very good on this Akali. Slowly but surely has picked up a couple kills for himself and an assist. Been popping off on this champion. I mean, yeah, like you said, although he didn't end up getting the kill on the top side, wasted so much time, allowed for the rest of Kabum to collapse and just start picking up kills, right? Again, they would have picked up more unless, unfortunately, House did burn that stopwatch. But Parang just being a menace, more of a split push menace than Batao on this Tryndamere, which is surprising considering what I think of happens when I see a Tryndamere. I see him splitting down side lanes, sending two people in, trying to chase him down, then he whirlwinds out, screams at you, and then does the whole thing all over, rinse, repeat, and then just be super annoying in these games.
Yeah, I'm expecting it at some point. It will hit the time when no one can match him at that point, and you know, when he gets the mythic, when he gets the Navori quick plays, he's going to become much more of a menace in that side lane. But for now, he has been effectively held down by Kabum, and they've got this lead still. It's not massive. It's under 3k. They did get the last dragon, so they're on that Ocean Soul point that they can fight for, but they don't have an insane lead. The Tryndamere could still become a win condition the later this game goes, but then at that same point, Avenger will start to fall off a little bit more than he already has. Aegis as well, as you mentioned earlier, will start to fall off a bit, and Kabum are going to have a bit more agency in these fights as Wiz, once again, looking to try and punish Red for stealing away the camps, but won't get there in time.
Yeah, and Wiz going for the Divine Thunder into Maw. I'm loving this. I'm loving the Maw second item. I just love that item. It's been so bad for so long that finally it gets buffed, and now it's actually a viable pick into magic or AP damage, or sorry, magic damage or AP carries. And as more MR gets picked up, and I assume even Desave, he can pick it up, right? It's very good on a champion like Aphelios. Aegis is, like you said, gonna fall off. He's not gonna do as much damage. Even if he does get these 3 to 4 man ultimates off, they're not gonna be as impactful. His window is closing. He's got the Blighted Jewel in hand. He needs to start getting some follow-up from his teammates, whether it be in the form of Avenger, whether it be in the form of Teton. Like, they need to start supporting these ultimates, because Aegis has, for effectively this whole game, out-jungled Wiz in the aspect of getting camps, getting engaged. It's just Wiz has been on the receiving end, I would say, of a lot of these kind of pickup kills and these kinds of gimme kills, right? Kind of those kind of things.
It returns to what we said in the pregame before the series even kicked off, that Wiz is just coming from such a stronger team foundation to build a jungle performance on than Aegis is. Aegis has to scrabble and scratch and claw for every single bit of advantage he gets, whereas Wiz just watches his lanes clown on their opponents and then goes, I'm going to go and last hit this one. I'm so good, dude. I'm so skilled. I'm so great. And he is really good. You know, I'm joking when I say that, but he does have a much easier map to play around, it has to be said.
Yeah, I love how you mentioned the foundation of Kabum here, right? Because Parang and House, you know, as much pressure as they've been getting put onto them, House is 240 CS. Man's got a crown, a Zhonya's. He is virtually unkillable here, and he's going to dish out damage. Chaos Storm, you know, Victor's at that point. 2 items. Those lasers, those Chaos Storms, are going to be putting a lot of hurt onto a team like Red, especially, you know, when they're corralled into this river lane, into this dragon lane, and we'll see what Kabum ends up doing. Do they want to contest for this dragon? If I'm Kabum, I take this fight.
Yeah, Jojo starting it off onto Skuro, but then has to dash back as the Nautilus ultimate follows its way onto Aegis. Parang dives in, pressuring and poking with huge strikes from the Q. Avenger has been pushed right out of the fight, and Batao is on the flank. Jojo on the re-engage won't find something strong as Parang is forced into the stasis along with Aegis, but can they finish him off? Teton won't find the zap, and Batao is being corralled on the bot side. House and Skuro taking control of the river, flashes away from the grand entrance from Jojo, and is still 2v1ing the red Canids bot lane as Batao has fallen to Desave, and Kabum across every theater of the fight. They're just outplaying them again.
In the top side, in the mid river, in the bot side, Kabum handle Red and handle their business. Hopefully get a replay onto that fight, but that was the Parang show, right? Remember when I said, oh, you can get Chaos Stormed, you can get Moonlight Vigils, or you can just get Paranged? That's what happened, right? They just got blown up by these Qs, right? So early on, the depth charge gets pulled, but Parang, boom, 1 Q. Another Q. Oh, you know what? I'm going to hit the E onto Aegis here. I'm going to go in. I'm going to be a menace. And look, on the top side, Wiz is just handling Batao, doing damage, and Desave and House onto the backside, just doing so much damage. Desave gets the kill. And now, on the side of Red, look at Teton. Not able to really do much here. House is just purely unkillable, and now eyes turn towards the Baron, red and white on Desave. These guns are not who you want to fight into. Kabum are confident. They have the Ocean Soul in hand, and they have the Baron on their minds, dropping down so quickly.
Yeah, Howl's controlling space with the gravity well, and not a single way for Red to get through that jungle corridor. Now Kabum with the Ocean Soul, with the Baron Nashor buff as well, and this is the amount of control that they have. Parang hunting for Batao on the bot side as well will allow him to escape. Just takes his step back for some of that juicy fruit instead. But there's the damage from the last fight. The Parang show is right. Top in the charts there for Kabum.
Yeah, and although the damage for Batao is high, I feel like this is the most underwhelming Tryndamere I've seen to date. And that's... It's mean, right? I said it. I'm not sorry for what I said, but...
It's harsh, but it's not untrue.
Yeah, it's this Tryndamere build has virtually surmounted to nothing. I mean, you have Wiz, who is starved of his jungle camps, who is on a champion that shouldn't be allowed to duel Tryndamere, just handling him right now, right? Like, in these fights, in these side lanes, he is pushing Batao out, and yeah, now he's got the Gale Force, but he's got Hullbreaker, and what does Hullbreaker really achieve for you? You cannot side lane, Parang will kill you, Wiz will kill you, you can even send House for him, and I think it's still fine, as Aegis hunting, fishing for something, but Wiz, oh, TP's coming in.
Skuro's going to go for the hook, and the TP, as you say, is there. But Tao is there. I think Skuro has to just accept that he's been caught a little bit out of position right here. House, though, on the flank is going to get heavily engaged on, but there's the follow-up from Parang. Nails straight onto Avenger, finds Jojo as well. Now, Titan is in the sights. Parang is running wild over this team fight, and the rest of Kabum have the freedom to do what they like. It's domination for Kabum in the topside river, and they're looking for game number 2.
Yeah, and Red's looking very quiet after this right now. They lose the team fight in the topside jungle here. They fought House in a corridor. He drops the Chaos Storm, drops their gravity field, ends up Zanya and saying, you know what, hold that for me real quick. I'm just gonna go golden, and this is just a dominant performance from Kabum. There's nothing else to say. There's really nothing else to say. Kabum just